So I don't know if you guys heard, but it's come up again on the internet.
What now?
People are trying to debate what is and what isn't the big three.
Debate as in like, oh, here's my big three, or debate like, no, that's not in the big three. This is in the big three. Like, what kind of debate are we talking about?
I would say both. I would say both. People would say this is my big three, and I feel like as you can say whatever you want to say, right?
Yeah, but opinions are opinions.
Opinions are opinions, but the big three is stamped. There's no if, ands, or way around that shit. It's One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto for the numbers that they put up when they came out.
In whatever order you want it.
Again, we're not talking about which is better. But we know the three that are in, and people say, "Oh, Dragon Ball Z's not in the big three." Dragon Ball Z came out like 20 years before them shits came out.
Not that long before.
It was 10, bro.
Not even.
It was in the 80s.
Oh, well, it came out, yeah. I'm thinking like finished.
Not finished. Came out when it started.
Came out, yeah.
About 10 years.
Dragon Ball inspired a lot of the big.
A lot of them, for sure. So you can't really, if not all, you can't really put that in the big three. So I just want to know, because again, we all here argue a lot on this podcast, but we can agree on one thing, that the big three is the big three. That there is no if.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I'm real curious to know, if it's not Dragon Ball, what are they replacing these animes with online? What are they saying?
Like Attack on Titan or some shit. These niggas is
no.
Or they'll say like Full Metal Alchemist, or and I get it, Full Metal Alchemist.
I mean, like in your list of favorites, yeah, like I hear that a lot. I hear people say, "Oh, I love Full Metal Alchemist. Brotherhood is incredible." So I'm like, all right, cool. That's a nice my favorite anime list, but that's not even close to what the big three was.
The thing that people have to understand is that the reason they're called the big three is because without them, that shit wouldn't have a wave over here in the east.
But I also thought it was because of like overall manga sales. Yeah, those were like the top three largest manga serializations at the time.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it was also because it was what hit in the West. It's what hit hard here.
It's both though.
It's sales and influence, both
sales and. I mean, again, most people most people grew up watching one of those three. Well, of course, Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball, but like when we were kids, we either watched some of us watched all One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto. Or at least all of us have watched at least one of those anime at some point, which influenced and introduced us to anime in general. So again, this is for the dummies, the idiots, the fools.
No.
Who want to create, like, if you have your own personal favorite, you heard him. If you have your own personal favorite, that is perfectly fine. You are entitled to your opinion. Liking things are objectives or subjective. Sorry. So it's like you can like whatever you like. You cannot like whatever you not like. But the big three is the big three. So I don't like when people use my big three, because it's like, okay, well, you're going off opinion. You're not going off of fact. Like,
yeah, like you can't argue something that's already been established. But I mean, like that's the problem, like when you get a lot of 12-year-olds on Twitter.
But I've always said that the big three is still generational, because yes, it's what hit at that time, but you can always make the argument that you can have that generation of big three is solidified. Then you can also have the new generation of big three, and that's where the arguments are taking place. I think that they just needs to be differentiated, and I think there should just be a new generation of big three.
But the thing is, right?
So like you could call it big three modern era.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's like Silver Age, Golden Age, things like that.
Okay, but the thing is, that term big three came about because of those three anime.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would make sense to say, okay, well, this is the Golden Age big three, this is the modern age big three, because it's like that term would not be that term if not for those three. So I feel like we shouldn't even use that for anything else. We can say
you unfortunately might have to, because the same thing would be if saying how Dragon Ball influenced our generation. Dragon Ball did not influence this new generation. Demon Slayer influenced them. But again, that's why I said you have to. In my opinion, that's where the argument comes into play. It's just a generation. The explanation for why niggas keeps doing this shit is because it's just a generational thing. Is what I'm.
I just think you have to keep in mind, like, one of those three was number one for years. Like it was them three on the top three for like years. It was just like constant. It was them three you saw. Most of the time it was 1% number one. Most of the time it was like 7 to 8 years straight, by the way, just so you know. But those three were on the top. Those three. That's why they're the big three, because those three were selling like crazy at the same time. Yeah, let's enter the pod, because we need to get this fucking topic right. Fuck these niggas with their fucking top three, whatever the fuck. I'm mad.
Hey, I like that. Hey, yeah. So again, that's all. I just wanted to make sure that it's crystal clear. Spend like maybe 5 minutes talking about that shit, because I saw it come up on the internet again, and I just want, again, we argue a lot on this podcast, but there's something that the four of us can stand 10 toes down upon, that the big three is the big three. And you can have your own personal anime that you like that can be your top three, but the big three is the big three. Sorry. Let me intro this pod.
Sound like an old
Shawny, get the fuck
Shawny's been, I kicked Shawny out.
Are you doing the intro, Mac, or somebody else doing the
intro? You got him mad before the pod.
Oh, that's what he said? He said I'm gonna do it now.
Energetic. He's energized.
Now I was drank a little bit of tea. Now he got the energy.
Now you put some of these in the back, some batteries.
Some energizers.
What the fuck is going on? It's your boy Macky What up against this? What's going on, good people? It's your boy Macky OMO. I'm here with my good brothers. We got the Hokage, the Black Kage, El Negrito. Well, that's actually his brother. Crispin. We also got a Badman forward, Badman pull up, a Badman forward, Badman pull up, a Badman forward, Badman pull up, Badman Shawny in the motherfucking building, and a special guest. We got Rasta John in the building. We got Rastafarian John in the motherfucking building. Hope y'all niggas having a great time.
Omo música.
Welcome to episode 85 of the Paradise Podcast. Hopefully, what the hell?
That's not me, dog.
That's John. Hopefully, you guys are having a great. Hopefully, you guys had a great weekend. I know I did. I saw Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm waiting for these guys to see it so we can talk about it really quickly. But that's not the topic that we're talking about today. It's been a couple of weeks. Actually, it's probably been like longer than that. Maybe like 2 or 3 months since we talked about anime. We're going to talk about some anime today. Yeah, it's been a minute. We've been talking mostly about video games, and we talked about the Mario movie and movies. Yeah, so we got to get back to our roots. You know what I mean?
It became a video game podcast only.
I don't know if John got his fan on underneath him, but that shit is blastering underneath the mic. So I am not feeling 100% today. I know I gave an amazing intro. But that was off a show. That was like the last bit of energy. When when Gohan turned Super Saiyan 2 and was fighting Cell, and at the end of the fight, that nigga gave everything he got in that father son Kamehameha. That was my intro right there. So I'm kind of done up. So I'm gonna pass it over to this bitch nigga named Shawny, and I'm allow him to take over right now.
Thank you, Grandpa Blackie over here. Since you want to talk shit. And speaking of Blackie, we're talking about.
I muted that bitch ass nigga.
Tired of this nigga. Come on, old man. Go ahead and intro.
Go ahead. I'm done. It's episode 85.
Jesus Christ. Welcome everybody to episode fucking 85. Today we're talking about the Dark Trio. Since we got pure evil on the side and shit over here. Anyway, we're talking about the Dark Trio. Hell's Paradise recently started with this anime season of spring 2023, which now concludes the Dark Trio of Shonen, which is Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, and again, like I said, Hell's Paradise. Essentially, what we consider the Dark Trio to be is that they don't follow the typical Shonen tropes that we've known to see from the OG Big Three, hence our little mini debate in the beginning. And they kind of go for a darker mood. Instead, you're getting a lot more blood and gore. They don't hesitate to kill people off, and there's a lot darker, mature tones and whatnot. So we just want to get a little feel for it and see how we feel about it. Do we agree? What are the tropes that we're looking at? Things of that nature. So
first things first. Can you explain where you got the term the Dark Trio from, please?
I just explained it.
You said that week. You said you didn't explain it.
It's a term that's been flying around for shonen manga for the three. No, it's been full. You gonna let me finish?
All right, go ahead.
Would you like to research this? Thank you. Anyway, it's the term that's been flying around on the internet because the Dark. Jesus Christ, Renji.
Renji's like, shut the fuck up, nigga.
Anyway, the Dark Trio has been floating around since the three anime that I mentioned were in their manga forms and whatnot. Jujutsu Kaisen came out first, shortly a few years after Chainsaw Man came out, and now Hell's Paradise has come out. So now the term is flying around in the sense of the Dark Trio of anime, even though it existed before as a Dark Trio of manga. Most people who don't read manga would never know what the term Dark Trio is, and that's what they're basically pushing it. It's what you could consider, in my definition, as the big three of dark shonen, essentially. Do you need?
I like considering it a dark trio. Sounds better than.
Thank you for that explanation.
Calling it a big three.
Yeah, and I think it separates itself.
Yeah.
Don't get Grandpa started, please. Do not get him started.
I'm not. I'm here. I'm chilling. You older than me.
Anyway, the conversation came up last week because we were just talking about we haven't spoken about anime in a while, and John mentioned that he was watching JJK.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get his thoughts on JJK. We're just going to kind of just go through the three of them. We all attempted to watch at least the first episode of each one and just get a feel for, do we consider it to be Dark Trio? What are the tropes that we see we like that are different from our typical shonen trios and things of that nature? Take it away.
Really quickly, John, just give it. You're gonna give us a synopsis. Perfect, my boy.
Yeah. So I was gonna say before I talk about how I feel about it, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna read a brief synopsis for the audience, so that way they can get an idea of what the stories are for these anime and kind of decide if they want to watch them for themselves based on what they hear us talking about. So Jujutsu Kaisen's synopsis says, Yuji Itadori is a boy with tremendous physical strength, though he lives a completely ordinary high school life. One day, to save a classmate who has been attacked by curses, he eats the finger of Ryumin Sakuna, taking the curse into his own soul. From then on, he shares one body with Ryumin Sakuna. Guided by the most powerful of sorcerers, Satoru Gojo, Itadori is admitted to Tokyo Jujutsu High School, an organization that fights the curses, and thus begins the heroic tale of a boy who became a curse to exorcise a curse, a life from which he could never turn back.
I'm gonna give it $100.
Thank you.
I've never read that shit. That just sounds pretty hard.
If you were to read it,
if you were to butts. That fucking cup is hilarious.
Oh, this one?
That's what I was reading. Butts.
Hold up. cool.
Oh, it's Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
This man is just cross topicing, yo.
Bro, I don't have a JJK cup. Get me one.
There's no Jujutsu Kaisen cup at Mac's house. No, Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, yeah. So how do you feel about it, John? Like
Jujutsu Kaisen is pretty unique in my opinion. So it does kind of fit into Shawny's description of these non-traditional shonen stories that we're experiencing. So it fits that. Oh, look, he's got Gojo right there. So it fits that description very well. I feel like the protagonist, like Itadori, is one of those kids that's just like, oh, I have to do what I said I was gonna do. Like I made a promise, now I got to keep my promise. So now I have to do anything and everything that means I get to keep my promise. So that is one thing that just kind of like what's the word I'm looking for?
Trophy.
Like resolve. Like
Yeah.
protagonist resolve is kind of like something you see a lot in shonen. Like main character type of situations. Like the main protagonist usually always has like some kind of resolve. Like we always go back to the big three, right? Like Naruto wants to be the next Hokage, and Luffy wants to be the king of the pirates. So it like there's a resolve there that gets them to where they want to be. And Itadori has this resolve where he wants to keep this promise that he made to someone. And even though that's a little cliche to me, I find the material to be enjoyable. I'm not really big on magic type of stuff, but this anime doesn't make it feel like it's magic. Right, because they describe the jujitsu high school as like a camp of sorcerers. You know what I'm saying? That is how they describe them.
They are wizards, bro.
Yeah, so they're really? That's the word that they use to describe
so
them.
Hold on. Let Shawny talk real quick.
I just want to quick chime. So yeah, they are considered to be jujitsu sorcerers, but they essentially they fight curses, but they use curse energy to fight them. So it's not necessarily magic per se. It's just I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like
it's not magic, but it's magic.
It's the like difference between me skipping it and watching it.
No, okay.
No, that's enough. Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's
the difference between me skipping it and watching it.
They use curse energy to fight the curses, essentially.
Which reminds me of like spirit energy,
yes,
from like Yu Yu Hakusho and Bleach and stuff like that. So that's kind of the reason why I'm on board with the story, because of how much it reminds me of some of my favorite anime. Like I love Bleach. I read Bleach, and I love Yu Yu Hakusho. So a lot of those stories of these, so a lot of these stories of like these people learning how to use that kind of energy, and fighting with it, it's just always been fun and entertaining for me. So Jujutsu Kaisen kind of like fits in that category. I like how they set the protagonist up in this one. I like him making a decision that could have cost him his life, but just ended up working out. Just fluke chance. And they even say, what are the fucking odds, 1 in a million chances that he just doesn't die because of what he did. And then we get to just see this character's resolve, right? Because another big part of the plot is that his resolve is so strong that Sakuna can't do shit. So like I am on board so far with the story. I am not annoyed by the main character. Gojo kicks ass, and like I like the animation style. This is Mappa, right? That does Jujutsu Kaisen.
I should have led with that. So Mappa is the studio who does all 3 of them.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Yeah, so makes a lot of sense. So this one, I have not finished the first season when I am done watching the first season, I do plan on watching the movie. I just have to see it. You guys told me it was on Crunchyroll, right? Is it on Crunchyroll?
The movie is on Crunchyroll, so when you finish, you can go right to it. And one thing I will say is pay attention because they reference the movie. They literally tell you the whole movie in the first season, but you don't realize it until you watch the movie.
So technically, you could have watched the movie first, and then
because it's a prequel. Yeah, but I like to watch things in the order in which they were released because I feel like the audience received the story that way, so there has to be some significance to that. There's some like certain nuances that you get when you know the source material, and then you see the prequel, and you're like, "Oh, that's that shit. I know that shit." Like, so I sometimes I like those experiences better rather than going chronological. That's the reason why I like watching Star Wars in its original release order and not in chronological order.
See, it's actually funny that I agree with you, but with Jujutsu Kaisen 0, it's hilarious the way they did it. If you actually watch 0 first, you'll appreciate the anime because they reference 0 so many times that it literally just goes over your head half the time. Granted, even if you can continue, you can watch it the way you are now and be fine. But I would say if I was to recommend it to somebody new that hasn't already started it, just start with 0, only because it'll actually make the anime make way more sense. And half of the things that they are referencing that are occurring, they did it really slick. They did it really, really good. I didn't even expect the way they did it. They did it really good.
That's interesting. Yeah, no, I don't really have too much context for this film. I just know in my head that when I'm done with the season, I was gonna jump right into it and watch it. But yeah, that's. I mean, I didn't want to give spoilers out for it, just because we're just kind of talking about them like as an overview. Like we're not really doing like an in-depth review on each one of these three. And if the audience wants to watch it for themselves, like I want to give people the chance to do so. But I like the MacGuffin in this one, like the object that gives the character the abilities to do the things. So I like that because it's gross and different. I was just like, because I read the summary before I watched it, and I was like, what the fuck do you mean he eats a finger? So like, and
it's not the prettiest finger at all.
It's a nasty looking finger, but anyway, it's just so I read that and I was just like, this sounds fucking weird or stupid. I have to see which one it is. A
little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit, but it was good. So that's why I kept going.
Weird, stupid, and good.
Yeah, but that's it. So I've gotten up to the Gojo fight that he does with the volcano guy.
Okay.
Yes, I got to that fight. I saw that fight. That was the last episode I saw. That was the last. Yeah. Then he just and then was just
him going and getting a Yuji to go to give this nigga a whole lesson.
Bro, I was like, wait a minute. He left. I was like, yo, he fucking left.
He left, came back.
So really quick.
No spoilers though. But
no spoilers. But
that was hilarious.
It actually is a perfect tie-in to the beginning of the episode, because if you are at that point, I would have to imagine you saw when Yuji was, we know it at this point. All shonen have their training portions.
Oh, when he was doing his little training thing with the teddy bear.
Yes, but you get to a point where they reference all of the big three and more.
Where he was just like, "Oh, I don't have a fucking Bankai or a this or a that, or
I don't have a devil fruit. I can't do a Rasengan
or a spirit gun or some shit." Yeah, he said a whole bunch of shit.
See, the thing I like about it is the fact of the matter is it's meta in a way. It's very meta. And if you are a OG, and if you watch the big three or aware of the big three, you appreciate it, because I feel like JJK gets away with, we're gonna take away bits and pieces from every anime and make it work. So you get your 3-man cell from Naruto. You two male, one female. So from Naruto, you get your Koko Kakashi, but you also get the spirit energy and like the horror esque aspects from Bleach. Yeah. And then with One Piece, you just get the goofiness. You really do get the goofiness of One Piece with the characters
where they get real goofy.
Yeah, and they blend it in such a well way. And honestly, you can argue, you can clearly see like the fighting scenes are DBZ inspired. So you get all of that culmination into one good anime. And the beauty of it is they kind of get through the whole typical shonen tropes within the first half. And then in the second half, it turns up, it gets to its dark portion. And eventually, when we do get season 2, that's when we really get into what's gonna make it. If you don't feel it's dark already, we get into the
darker of the
really story. You know, when the anime it's like when your pain shows up in Naruto or your overhaul in My Hero, you know that shit's getting real type of thing. But I just wanted to see if Macky and Crispin want to give any perspective as well.
Yeah, what how do you guys feel about Jujutsu Kaisen? I'm watching it because of you guys.
So go ahead, Crispin. Go ahead.
Jujutsu Kaisen. When I started, I was just like, all right, people talking about this here. Let me see. Cause I didn't read the synopsis. Because if I were at that, I would have just saw it. Like I would have been like, all right, lit. When I started seeing it, I was just like, all right, this nigga look like a regular nigga, like a regular shonen main character, and I was like, all right, cool. Let me keep watching. Once I seen how the power structure, like when the first time I saw Gojo go crazy against, like the second episode, I was like,
yeah, like this look interesting.
Shout out to that. I gotta say, and like top 20 anime with the best first episode. You get everything. If you don't like it after the first episode,
you're done. You're
done.
Let it go.
Just stop.
Let it go. And then I was like, all right, so this other dude does summonings. So this thing, another another reference to Naruto. This man is like doing his summonings, but like the way he does his summonings, it also reminds you of another anime that I forgot. Fuck, what's the other anime that they do shit like that too? It has to do something just like what Jujutsu Kaisen has going on. And then once I figured out that they're using like the curses to actually fight curses, I was like, yeah, I'm in here. We out here. Let's do this. Come on, give it all.
You're not thinking of Monster Rancher, right?
I don't know. It's not that. I know something else that does that shit too. I forgot what it was. I know I saw something that it literally was in my head and then just disappeared. But to me, Jujutsu Kaisen, the only thing that, like, because of the title of the Dark Trio or whatever, I didn't think it was that dark. Like, I think the movie's darker than what the first season was. The movie was definitely darker. But other than that, it was just like the manga gets spooky quick.
I just don't like that they're curses.
Why?
I don't know. I guess like demon sounds better.
Well, see, the thing think about how much demon is overused, and then
I mean, I get why, but I just like a curse just like seems like a spell. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, are they spells?
Hi, you Harry Potter hating ass niggas.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Semantics. That's all.
But that's also a good point. That the way they explain how curses exist and why it is a thing in the world, it actually makes sense because that is a real thing of how the Japanese look at curses and spirituality.
Yeah, so I guess maybe that's the context that I'm missing. My bad. But it's like like in Bleach.
My fault, John.
No, you're good.
Going back to what you said at the beginning, that they have like main characters normally have like this goal that they want to do, right? Yeah. What I've noticed in all three of these, right, is that their goal is nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like Naruto's goal is like, I want to be the president of this bitch.
Yeah. Luffy wants to be.
The only nigga that didn't have like a crazy goal was Ichigo. That nigga just wanted to be.
And I think you could argue that Ichigo and Yuji's goals are kind of similar.
Similar.
Just very bare bone.
Luffy wants to be the king of. I'm the nigga, and the pirate shit.
No, we don't know. Me. We don't know what. Anyway,
but he wants to be the king of the pirates to accomplish his goal, like to accomplish his dream. But he still wants to be the king of the pirates. So that's what he wants. That's the status he wants, right? So. Most of the anime that followed have a big status. Like, I need this. I want to be this. I want to be the hero. I want to be the wizard. I want to be the this. I want to be the that.
Yeah.
For these niggas, this is like, I made a promise. I made a promise to a dude. I want to accomplish that promise. And Hell's Paradise, you haven't watched it.
Yeah.
This with my wife, cool. And
Chainsaw Man is the most
for money.
Not even that. He just want ass.
Bitches. Money and bitches, because he needs money to survive and bitches to fuck. That's it.
He said, "Yeah, I'll do whatever."
It's a what? She's gonna let me what?
Very basic.
You gonna let me, huh? I can't say less. I'll do whatever the hell you want. That's and it's so mundane. It's mundane things other than like before. It's like I want to be the king of this. I want to be the ruler of this. I want to be this guy. I want to be that guy. And this nigga's like, bro, just give me some pussy, bro. That's it.
It's like finally some relatability in my anime.
Grab a titty, say less. Who I gotta chop up? Like damn, like that, bro.
Who gotta
like
this work?
I think that's one of the things that they're doing right.
John, you're crazy.
I think that's one of the things they're doing right because they literally that trope that John was talking about at the beginning. They obviously they're gonna have it because it's a shonen.
Yeah,
they diminished it so much that you could barely tell it's there. That's why it's not annoying.
That's what makes these, like interesting, and I think like that's a part of the dark aspect to it too. Like because it's not so child friendly. It's not so appropriate for everybody. It's for people who find it interesting. Like and if you do find it interesting, you get it. You get the story, and you get the character development and the lore and everything else that comes with it.
These are the Mortal Kombat of anime, in my opinion.
Which one?
That's a good description.
Like for all three of them, they're all just literally they're literally the Mortal Kombat of video games. Where you're still a video game. Everybody likes video games, but this game is not for your traditional video gamer. Like it's got the blood and gore, it's got the mature thing. It's not for kids.
So, Mac, did you have any thoughts on Jujutsu Kaisen before we move into Chainsaw Man? Since we already brought it up.
No, not really. Everyone kind of said the same things I was gonna say, so I'm not gonna really repeat. One thing, I could say something that's like a hot take. Like to me, Jujutsu Kaisen may be. Actually, no, because it's definitely Chainsaw Man. So I like Jujutsu Kaisen though, because I'll intro Chainsaw Man by this, but I like Jujutsu Kaisen. Unfortunately, I saw the movie subbed, so like I was in and out because I can't like sit in a movie theater and watch and read. Ridiculous. So hopefully I'll be able to re-see it or whatever in dub like I wanted to. But anyway, it's a good show. I'm surprised John is like gotten this far because I know he hates. But again, I would have never thought, like I would have never gone and said, okay, this looks or feels like magic because there's you saying curses and things like that. And I get, sorcerers and fucking voodoo. That's technically magic. So all that shit can work. But
John gotta let
I don't really have.
Go.
That way that I gotta let it go.
Yeah, nigga.
A little bit because like you're missing out on.
It's not that I've given stuff a chance, just like I gave this one a chance. I just
I feel
not like Black Clover.
More. No, I don't like Black Clover either. But I think you just don't like. I think you just like this because of the fact that it's more. It's like
it doesn't. It's not 100% magic. It's a variation, but
it's more gory, bro. Like, and it.
I'm not even like a sucker for that. Like, yeah, I like gore and action.
Movies would have sold it for him.
I can watch a political drama and still be entertained. Like, that's why I like Gundam. I just like stuff that makes sense to me and is entertaining. And sometimes the magic stuff is just it feels so corny to me.
I think I can agree with that because
it just feels very bibbity bobbity fucking.
That's what
I'm just
when
like,
he still explains it, I immediately think to Fairy Tail. And I think
fucked you up, kid.
Yeah, but you got to give him credit. He's not wrong when it comes. And this is another episode we will bring up about magic anime to move forward from it.
Yeah, we could talk about.
Yeah, we could definitely talk about.
I'm totally down for it. They're just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, and it's just some magic anime just tend to be very cheesy and it can throw off most people. And with that being said, we will walk right into Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw Man.
Please.
So
go ahead and give
Crunchyroll describes Chainsaw Man as such. Denji, is a young boy who works as a devil hunter with the chainsaw devil Pochita. One day, as he was living his miserable life, trying to pay off the debt he inherited from his parents, he got betrayed and killed. As he was losing his consciousness, he made a deal with Pochita and got resurrected as the Chainsaw Man, the owner of the devil's heart. That's Pochita right there.
This is my man right
Cutest new gen mascot I've seen.
Oh yeah, that thing is fucking adorable. I'm actually upset that we only see him in the beginning of the anime.
Yeah, he dies.
That's
away.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to spoil.
Well, to be honest, but if you watch the first episode,
no, it's the first episode, but still.
Again, these three literally get their points across in the first episode.
I just
real quick
like
before you go, before we go, I think to be honest with you, Chainsaw Man might be the weakest out of all of them.
Okay. Wow. Why do you say the weakest?
You gotta talk your shit.
I think so too.
I'm sorry, John, I had to mute you because your fan is fanning. Nah, it's still fanning. So what was I gonna say? Yes, Chainsaw Man is the weakest out of the three. I feel like the reason why I give because I'm not a big fan of JJK like that, but I give it a pass because it has anime tropes. Even though we did say that the Dark Trio doesn't have the regular anime tropes, there's a lot of tropes in JJK that I am familiar with. The three-person group, because Macky's a woman, so the 3-person group, having the Kakashi type role, yeah, whatever, and all those things. So those things I can kind of relate to because we grew up watching that shit. Hell's Paradise, and we'll talk about that later. The story is just very, very interesting. I saw it on TikTok and I was like, okay, I can't wait till this shit comes out. And thankfully, they're dubbing the episodes really quickly so I can watch that shit. Unlike the fucking Demon Slayer, they need to start dubbing that shit or releasing the dub. Anyway, but yeah, no. Anyway, so but yeah, so and the story, the fights, his reason for reasoning, I just like all of that shit because it's different. Like it's something that we would see in his reason is something that we would see in like a romance anime or a slice of life anime or some shit like that. Whereas this anime is like fucking gory and bloody as shit. So I think that's what kind of drew me, because Shawny said only watch one episode and I damn near watched like 2.5.
You binged the whole thing?
Damn near. Like I was mad intrigued. I'm mad I didn't finish the rest. So Chainsaw Man, the first episode definitely caught me, but I feel like I wasn't really. I think it started out, even though that first episode caught me, I think it started out slow after that first episode until they got towards the end of the season. And I didn't even finish it, to be honest with you. I got to episode, I think I only have one more episode left. So I finished majority of it. It's just the last episode I need to watch. But what I'm saying is I feel like it started slow until they got to that second or third to last episode when they was on the rooftop.
I would argue the second.
Yes.
Okay. I would argue when the gunshot, when the headshot was shot, that's when it got real. That was the flip. I would say that's like 6 or 7 episodes in, because it's 12.
Yeah, but that's towards the end of the season. That's my point.
That's still half of it though. You're saying is like 2 to 3. You're talking like My Hero Academia season 1, but with the way you're describing it, where My Hero was the same.
Again, we have to remember this season is mad short. It was only 12 episodes.
Yes, it's only 12 episodes.
Okay, so I finished it then. I'm sorry. I watched everything.
Yeah.
I thought there was like 13 or some shit. But yeah, my point still stands. Like it took halfway through when we're talking about a lot of the animes that we're talking about today. JJK, Hell's Paradise, episode 1, 2, 3. It's like it just kept getting better and better and better and better. I didn't want to put it down. Versus, at least for me, again, I'm speaking only for myself.
Focus on Chainsaw
Man. I'm about to say. Yeah, no, for sure. But I'm saying with Chainsaw Man, The first episode was very interesting. After that, I was kind of like in and out. Like, I'm not a big fan of like the main character. He doesn't like make me want to root for him. And
Who,
again, this is
Denji?
just me. Yeah, no, I don't. I know you want to root for him, pervy bastard. I'm talking about me.
Wow.
I know
Yo,
you.
hurry up, yo, before we move. This
Wow.
guy, yo. John, I got him, John. Don't worry, I got you. I got
so
you.
unnecessary.
I got you.
Yeah, but that's my again. Like, I'm not saying that Chainsaw Man is bad. I'm saying out of the three, it is the weakest. That's all I'm saying.
Let me go. I'm with him on this.
Do it.
But my reasonings are different. It's just a visual thing. The animation that they chose is not my cup of tea. I watched the whole thing. It's a good story from what I know, from what I saw, like that first part. But since the animation didn't catch me, I didn't even go and read because I normally go and read after first season. Like I go jump into the manga and I just go right. I like it just didn't make me do that. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, shit. Should I wait for the
But
second season?
You don't think that also plays a part with, of course, if the animation is not, if you don't like the animation, you don't like the animation. But you don't think, even if you liked the story enough, you would have still read it if not for the animation?
Because the problem with me is like when I read a manga, it's because I imagine the animation that they would do. See what I'm saying? So if the animation didn't click with me at the beginning, I just don't want to imagine that shit like that. So I'm just gonna let it rock. I swear to God, I just let it rock. So when the second season comes out, it's just another fresh look. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, like that's why I think is out of those three, I think is in the bottom right now for me. Because the other one, the House Paradise, I just started watching, and I was like, yeah, this nigga going crazy. I fuck with this. We know about Jujutsu Kaisen, we already spoke about it, but Chainsaw Man, I was just like, yeah. The only thing I liked is when he started training with that dude, and then when we found out how crazy the other bitch was, I was like, all right, this is gonna get sexy soon.
Oh
so
yeah,
I'm just gonna wait.
A quiet psycho.
Yeah, it's about to get sexy quick. You know what I mean? But I'm just gonna wait. That's why I think I have him in the bottom because of the animation. It's just animation shit. To be honest.
Yeah, I think for me, well, I'm biased because I watch all of them full from the jump. But for me, it gives me. I will agree with Mac in the sense that it is out of the three, it is the slower one because you kind of get like the craziness in the beginning, then it kind of slows down to help build up the story, and then you're thinking like, okay, when is this shit supposed to turn up? And then there's like a quick flick of the switch. I think 6 or 7 episodes later, that it goes there. And the reason why I've learned to give anime like that a chance is because
I'm so sorry, Shawny. I know what you're talking about now because when you said the headshot,
when they were at the restaurant.
Yes, okay. So it got hot there, right? But immediately after that, it slowed down again.
But again, yes, you're not lying. But there was still a lot of world building going on because then you're learning about Macky, what the fuck she is and what she's doing. And then that's when they started doing that world building.
Fair enough.
They should have made that shit 25 episodes.
And I agree, and that's where I was gonna go with.
Because if they made that shit 25 episodes, they elaborate after that. Then it goes crazy. And I'm like, yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
I agree. I think that's what it is. It's just one of those animes where it just starts slow and it seems like it should be 25 and it was just 12. And the reason why I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait for season 2 to come out. Let's see how it goes from there. Is because technically speaking, My Hero is what the new gen would call their big 3. But when My Hero started, most people did not want to go through the first season. The first season didn't turn up until like episode 9. And then
12 episodes.
12 episodes for the first season. And it didn't turn up until episode 9. And then that's from the minute season 1 ended and season 2 got past that first filler recap episode, shit just kept turning up and turning up and turning up. So no pun intended. Hopefully, Chainsaw Man, rev the engine, all that bullshit. I'm not gonna go. I ain't going to it. So anyway, the thing that I liked about it was just the fact that it also, the things that Mac was saying, how he's comfortable with certain things that JJK did because of how it made him feel towards his other anime. For me, Chainsaw Man was just so damn unpredictable. You didn't know when somebody died. You didn't know they were gonna die. Nobody
crazy. God died, or got killed. Huh?
when because the thing about Chainsaw Man is one.
I can't. I have to, bro.
When Chainsaw, he was excited. Let him live.
Yes. When Chainsaw Man, like, every time something happens, it's like it just keeps building and building, and it's just what.
When this girl was seducing my man, next episode she gone.
We are spoiling.
Stop spoiling.
I didn't say no names.
Nah, but we're spoiling shit.
So we'll try anyway. We'll try to. Like I said, the good thing about Chainsaw Man.
We didn't see Chainsaw. Here.
We all saw it, but
all right, fuck these
the audience.
We're talking about spoiling.
Whoa!
The audience.
Hold on 1 second. The words from Crispin does not. I gotta put a disclaimer of this motherfucker. He going crazy.
Y'all know I love y'all though.
Yes. We'll eventually have a more in-depth Chainsaw episode.
Chainsaw Man is very different.
Yes.
From a lot of anime that I've seen in the past. I think Denji's motivations are awesome because they're ridiculously simple.
Yes, and they're relatable.
Ridiculously relatable.
Well, to be fair, hold on. Before I say it, let me clarify with the relatable thing. Denji is technically, I think he's 16. So it makes sense for his age.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you want me to smack him to grab your titty? Say less.
Bam. Let me at him.
If y'all again, so, if you guys say so, like I'm not saying that it's a bad anime. It's just
I think
come on.
I think that it takes an unsuspecting main character and throws him into a world in which he is way over his head, and everyone, including the main character, knows that he is in over his head, but he has managed to keep himself alive. He has managed to be resourceful. He has managed to prove himself useful, and he's still learning. Right, like as the story progresses, like even towards the end of the first season, we see that he is still learning and he's willing to learn more, be stronger, more useful because of the consequences of things that happen during the season. But I just like the fact that, you know, like it's just the world just goes crazy out of nowhere.
Seriously,
you know, like just goes nuts. But like it's something where like the world is the world already before the main character shows up. Like there's no, like he's not just exposed to this new world just because of what happens to him in the first episode. He was already in the world. He just didn't know the people that he ends up meeting. He
was not in the big part of the world.
He was not. He was in the small underworld part of the world where he was doing, you know, small, tiny work. But, you know, just I like the fact that the world didn't need the you know, the radioactive spider bite to fucking make this character, you know, like, oh, you know, there's a whole world out there I could be saving. Like, you know, like it wasn't. Yeah. You know, so it's just it's different. So it's very unorthodox. It's very funny.
To be honest, I don't really give a fuck.
I think Power is a funny character too.
Yes,
I think she's hilarious.
You heard? To be honest, that nigga don't give a fuck about the world.
No, he doesn't. He just kind of cares about his self-interests. Mm-hmm. But it's because he's never had the freedom to give a shit about what he wanted. So now that he can act on what he wants, we just see what he's been wanting for such a long time. That's all it is. But I guess we can move on to Hell's Paradise, right?
The best one out of all of them. I cannot lie to you.
The best one. This is one that I haven't seen yet. So this will be my first time reading the synopsis.
I'll go after you.
Okay, so Crunchyroll.
Real nigga.
Crunchyroll describes Hell's Paradise like this. Gabimaru reigns as the strongest and most ruthless assassin in his village, but now finds himself on death row with only one way out: retrieve the elixir of life from a sinister island. Longing for freedom, he accepts the challenge. but with fellow convicts vying for the same prize and demonic beasts lurking, how will Gabimaru survive this harrowing quest?
So I will start with this. I think this is the only one out of the two where you need to watch the first 2 episodes. Sorry, yes, you're right. My bad. The only one out of the 3, you need to watch the first 2 episodes.
Why do you say that, Shawny?
Because in my opinion, it isn't until you finish that second episode where if you weren't hooked by the first one, the second episode just turns up so fucking quick by the end that you're like, yo, I'm hooked. That's it. Like, I gotta watch the shit. The first episode, really?
I think you could watch the first episode and be hooked.
Compared to the other 3, I don't think so. Because because of the other 3, you didn't really get. So for example, oh my god damn, just let me fucking talk. Go for y'all.
We're trying to help you out here. So we understand what you're talking about.
When you had Kaizen, by the time you watch Kaizen, you already got Sukuna, you already got Gojo, you already got a little bit glimpse of it, and you wanted to see more. When you watch
okay. So you're speaking about information.
Well, just no, in general, just you have that action because with these anime, there's that one scene that's like, I bet, like I'm hooked. If you're not hooked by the story, you're gonna want the action. With Chainsaw Man,
so you don't think how the episode end that will hook somebody?
No, because the way the episode 2 ended was the one that told you, like, oh, this nigga Gabimaru is the truth.
For sure. But we knew that at the end of the first episode.
But we didn't see him in action until the end of the second one. That's what I'm trying to get at. You had the first one, you saw Sukuna versus Gojo to some level. By the end of Chainsaw Man, you saw him fucking zombies up. Or zombie devils up at that point. But with Gabimaru, and it's not a spoiler for you, John, but you don't get to really see him in action. You learn about him and you're trying to figure out what is the reason for why he is X, Y, and Z. But when you get to episode 2, you see him like, yo, you know what? I'm tired of this bullshit. Blood everywhere. Straight gore pouring everywhere. When I seen that shit, I said
he turned up.
He turned up. You got to see him in action.
Said, chicken nuggets. And
don't get me wrong, the story is a good story, yes, but I just feel like when you're talking about the other 2 in the trio, you gotta have that. They both had that one scene action.
They both have like strong first episodes.
Yeah.
So you're saying this one has the weakest first episode, but when watching the first 2 episodes, you get the introduction that you need.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the weakest per se. I would just say that it definitely, you don't get that one action scene that sells the show for you if nothing else sold it. It's the one lacking the final action scene.
I would call that the weakest one.
Yes,
I'll take that.
By what you're saying, it is the weakest one.
Yeah, I would consider that the weakest opening.
I don't agree, just because of like the first scene that we see. I can't spoil it. So the first scene that we see is like, I feel like it breaks a boundary that we don't usually see in anime. So in anime, usually the first scene is like a narrator coming on, how it used to be in the olden days, right? Or even in the new one, like they always start with some narrator talking about what the world is. They even do that now with like with what's it called? Fuck Boji. I can't remember the name of the anime, or My Hero. It comes a narrator on Ranking of Kings. Thank you. They talk about how the world is. They give you a little bit of a synopsis of the main character, let you know his name and da. And this shit, it started off. This is not. I don't know if this is a spoiler.
Don't say it.
But it started off him. Well, we know that he was in jail. That's what the synopsis said.
He's in jail, and that he was the best assassin.
So it starts off with him in jail, and him. I mean,
You can't say nothing.
So let me ask you this then. I know we know what you're saying, but let me ask you this. Do you think the way that the second episode started was better than the first one? Because the way the second one started was wild.
But again, that's why I think it's the best one, because JJK by episode 2, I don't want to say episode 2 was better than episode 1, but or even with Chainsaw Man, like again, I said it started off slow. After episode 1, it kind of died off. JJK episode 2 was really good, but it's not better than Hell's Paradise.
No, and I agree with you.
But again, that's what I'm saying. It starts off at such a high peak because of the way the episode started. It's like the only place we can go is further up. So that next episode, they give you even more context about the other person who is I guess the second main character or whatever you want to call him. Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. I can't sit here and think. And me watching all of these shits, especially because I just recently watched this shit today, I can't sit here and think that this one had the worst first episode because of the way the episode started. Like, there's no way. And John, I can't wait for you to see.
I'm gonna start it soon. I'm gonna start it really soon.
I can't wait for you to watch it, because then you'll understand what I'm saying.
When you see it'll be what I jump into as soon as I'm done with Jujutsu Kaisen, because I'll finish Jujutsu Kaisen quickly.
You're gonna be here forever.
No, because I watch that anime. I watch on my own time. The reason why One Piece is taking me so long is because I'm sharing that experience with my wife, and we don't always get the chance to sit down in front of a television and watch something. So
I know that feeling. That's why half the shows I've restarted can't finish. Crispin, you want to give us your take on Hells?
That shit fire.
That's all I gotta say. And I agree. Listen, I do not debate at all that Hells is not fire. I need to go watch the episodes tomorrow and like catch up, because I think I'm like 2 behind, and I like that I'm behind because I can actually just
binge a little bit.
I just still think out of the 3, just the first episode compared to the other 2 was weak, but that does not say that the anime itself is the weakest of the 3. I can agree with the Chainsaw Man argument being the weakest of the 3, anime wise. Yes, I'll agree with that.
Interesting.
I don't think the first episode is the weakest one, bro.
From Hell's Paradise?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why. All of them, not all of them. The other 2 give you a lot of like, here, this is what we're gonna do with the whole season. Done. What Hell's Paradise does is like, you don't know what's gonna happen the whole season, but you're still interested. It's like, what is wrong with this nigga? Like, what's going on? You're like, what is wrong with this nigga? But why are they asking him all the what? Wait, no, espérate. But he don't look. What the? You're confused in a motherfucker and intrigued in a motherfucker, and I'm like, wait.
That's good. It builds suspense.
So
that it's good at building suspense.
And I think that is a stronger episode because they didn't have to wrap you up with action, bro. And they still give you a little bit of action. They gave you something. He was dodging and weaving, but they gave you something.
So out of the 3, who has the weakest first episode for you?
Chainsaw Man, 100%.
Chainsaw Man, for sure.
Max says Chainsaw. Crispin says Chainsaw.
Hold on, I want to just piggyback off of what Paradise. I want to piggyback off of what Crispin just said. That's perfect. It like Chainsaw Man, by the first episode, you kind of get the gist of what the show is about. JJK, by the first episode, you kind of get the gist of what the show is about. Hell's Paradise, that first episode, you're asking yourself so many questions. What the fuck is going to happen next? And that is why, just like Crispin said, that is why that has the strongest opening, because it makes you be like, oh shit, I gotta watch episode 2.
Because
even after episode 2. Shit, I gotta watch episode 3.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree. I do not disagree in any way with that.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Shawny.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Chainsaw Man came out a little while ago. JJK came out like last year, so you may not remember how you actually felt. But
no, nigga, I know how I felt.
Okay, so let me ask you the question.
Mm-hmm.
When you, after watching the first episode of each of those animes, which were you the most excited to see episode 2?
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Really?
Because you literally saw a fucking demon this Itadori eats a fucking thing, turns into a demon, kills the nigga.
No, that was in the
synopsis. Everything we said is there. He's possessed, and literally the first episode begins with Gojo with Yuji locked up, and Yuji's waking up like, "Where the fuck am I?"
Bro,
and
I wish I could talk about Hell's Paradise, bro.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not debating it. You
So
guys
you're
are
saying that JJK is the strongest of the three as far as
for me personally, because by that point you get everything. You get the story, you know where you're going, you get to see this final scene, and then you got to wonder, okay, what the fuck is happening at this point? My only thing with Hell's Paradise, I think it's just the first episode for me was weak. But that does not mean that the anime itself is not weak.
Oh, no, that's not what we're saying.
But that's what I'm saying. For me, the second episode. So you guys, you're saying how the first episode sells it for you. I was gonna watch that shit out the first episode no matter what. It's the second episode, but when I finished it, I said, "Oh, this shit is going to be fire," because it wasn't just the fact that now understand like. I could care less about the girl story because in my opinion, I felt like they were kind of forcing character development really, really fast. It seemed like, but what it was for me was just the fact that when you see that literally the last 5 minutes of Gabimaru and you see why he is the Hollow, because the way he was set up, it didn't seem like he was. It just seemed like he just wanted to die. Like he wanted to die. It is what it is. But when you see him in that second episode, you're like, okay. Nah, yo, like that's what I'm trying to say. It was just that one scene that says, "Nah, this is gonna be the animated season."
Like, just put into perspective, bro. How many shows have the first episode not giving you that much info, and still you'd be like, you know what? That shit is interesting. I need to watch episode 2, like right now, type shit. How many shows in general? In general, not anime. I'm talking about shows in general. Because when people talk about Game of Thrones, and I'm going to bring this up, they talk about that first episode like that shit garbage. And that first episode tried to do that. It tried to do that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But when an episode does not give you a lot of info, and it's just throwing like, oh, this thing is this lady's this, she's asking this is happening, that, and you're like, okay, but how does all of this connect? Like, what the hell is going on? And then you're like,
if it piques your interest, then it does a great job of setting up the characters for you to learn more.
And it's like, it didn't give me the action, like Shawny said, like at the end of episode 2, my man's.
I think that's what I'm focused on.
That's the assumption that most anime viewers just want to see the hands.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about no hands, bro. What I give a fuck is like, does the hands correlate to the story? Because if the hands are just hands, I don't need them. That's exactly why I don't watch One Punch Man, because this nigga just be like dead.
One Punch is we got to do an episode on one, but One Punch is different because that shit literally is a parody. It's literally a parody with a story.
I think parodies,
so. Let me to end my point.
Be a joke.
Yeah, to end my point on it is just for me. The way that the second episode was in terms of just how it ended overshadowed it for me. If I wasn't already hooked from episode 1, which I was, I just feel that 2 was I would argue that Hell's Paradise had the strongest second episode out of all of them. And for any viewers who's watching, if you're still confused by the end of the first episode trying to figure it out, and because some people might get annoyed by that, where they're like, yo, you know what? This story, by the first episode, I need to be hooked. This story's not doing too much for me. That's the only one here that I would say you just need to watch the first 2 episodes for sure, because the other 2 had the action with it that would solidify it for your casual. We'll use the word casual to make it
casual
fair.
Viewership.
The casual viewership will be get hooked because you see where it's going to go.
Viewership.
The cowardly viewership. You cowards only want to see the hands. Scared of a good story.
You cannot watch
so
this.
Our producer is kicking us out.
Yeah.
So,
I hate this nigga, bro.
Before we go, because we can spare 2 minutes, just producer, forgive us. Can I just say that these 3 have like the hardest soundtracks?
Oh no, yeah, they go hard.
Yo,
I
Hell's
love
Paradise got that beat, the hip hop shit to it.
Listen, Hell's
Paradise, fire.
Jujutsu go
I gotta
crazy.
check that out.
Jujutsu's good
too.
The
Chainsaw Man is good too.
Chainsaw Man is the weakest of all these.
Is the weakest of the sound.
Something Paradise. What is it?
Hell's Paradise.
No. The name of the song at the end of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Lost in Paradise.
Lost in Paradise. There we go.
Fire. Yeah, that song. It won Song of the Year, Anime Song of the Year. Actually, both of them. The first one won Opening of the Year,
and I think majority of that song they sing in English too, right?
Mm-hmm. It's actually like
really good.
It's like a like a whole bunch of English that doesn't really make sense, but yeah, like it's English.
That's how it works.
They all have, and again, we talked about this on this anime before, on this podcast. I wish this was an anime. On this podcast before, hold up. It's like, no, let me not put that filter.
No, don't put that filter on again.
So yes, we've spoken about this before. The best animes have the best openings and closings, but the opening is for sure. So again, Hell's Paradise is number one for me. I cannot lie.
The soundtrack, I would argue. Well, I'm biased because I'm a big Eve fan. I would say Kaizen had the best first half opening.
I'm with you.
I gotta say, but Hell's Paradise, it's grown on me a lot. I've been fiending it. I've been fiending that opening.
That shit is hard. Anyway, producer, we're sorry for taking up 2 more minutes. Please.
No. I'm gonna be Macky, John. I got one word.
Next episode.
Next episode.
Yo, Shawny, put this as a topic, bro. We have to rank our favorite, say our favorite intros and outros from anime. Any anime.
Dog, I got a list of 330 songs.
We had a whole episode talking about anime music.
When?
Well, we did that.
We did.
It was Shawny's topic,
but we didn't rank them. We did have it, but we didn't rank them. We could do the rank one. The rank one's gonna be a good argument.
That's fine. But yeah, we just talked about like the effects of music.
Just the effects of
the
importance of it.
Yeah, like we talked about like Samurai Champloo and like a whole bunch.
But I gotta say, I'm sorry, Jujutsu Kaisen, out of all of them, Boogie Woogie's the hardest song. And if you watch it and you know what Boogie Woogie is, and Crispin, you guys know that theme song. That's the hardest one. That song is called Boogie Woogie.
All right, so I guess I haven't gotten to that part.
You'll know when you get to it.
It's at the end. It's
an ending. It's a closing.
Well, it's the end. No, it's the end of the anime. Like
it's like at the okay. So it's not a closing song then.
No.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that was very informative. Appreciate you guys on filling me in on Hell's Paradise because that's the only one that I missed out on. But yeah, if you guys, the listeners, the audience, have made it all the way to the end of this lovely, beautiful discussion on 3 dark animes that you should definitely get into right now, make sure that you like this video, because we love and appreciate you for being here with us. We want you to subscribe to the channel, become a part of the family. Right? Share this video with friends and family who like topics that we talk about anime and video games. That's what we do here on Paradise, because video games and anime is paradise to us. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think about what we discussed. Are you now interested in watching any of these anime because of our discussions? Do you agree with some of our opinions on, which has the weakest first episode, or which has the best opening or closing music, or which has the best main protagonist? Let us know down in the comments below. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. We are everywhere you would want to hang out with us on social media. We're there. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. There's TikTok videos up there. Like I said, you should already be subscribed to the YouTube channel if you're not. If you would rather listen to the podcast rather than watching the 4 of us over on YouTube, you can listen to us where you like to listen to podcasts on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for Podcasters. And Spotify for Podcasters is really cool because you can actually donate to the Paradise Podcast over on Spotify, and we appreciate any and all monetary donations. That helps us improve the quality of said podcast for you, the listener. And that's all the time that we have for today's episode. We're going to catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
She.